Hey everyone, Doug MPA back in here with another video. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button on the way in. It shows that you support my channel and this content. And I appreciate all the new viewers and all the new subscribers. Thank you very much. You guys are awesome. I'm going to give my opinion on this whole Deion Sanders situation. I'm going to give you a quick little history. I'll give you my opinion on HBCUs a little bit. And then we're going to go into this article by our good friend Jemele Hill. The Jemele Hill that used to be on ESPN but had to leave because of some racist and misandrist rhetoric she was spewing back in 2018, who ended up writing for The Atlantic because, of course, The Atlantic. So Deion Sanders, what to say about him? Prime time. One of the greatest athletes of my generation. NFL Hall of Famer. Crushing it in the NFL, played other sports too, wanted to go and coach college football. So he goes to Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi. Now, people are trying to act like they remembered this college before Coach Prime got there. Let's stop capping. Come on. Did you guys know that Jackson State University existed? I certainly didn't. So, in my opinion, it was a mutually beneficial situation. Coach Prime used his notoriety, resources, and knowledge to bring attention to the school, back-to-back championships in 3 seasons, a 27-5 record, and then the school gave him the opportunity to be able to show that he could coach at a college level. Everybody wins, right? Apparently not to some of us in our community. And just a little bit from my perspective, I grew up in Washington State. There are only 2 HBCUs west of the Mississippi. I moved to Washington, D.C., the DMV area in 2014. I spent a couple of years working in D.C., and then I spent 3 years working in Baltimore. And that's when I really started encountering people black students who had gone to HBCUs. Howard, Morgan State, Bowie State. There's a bunch of HBCUs in the DC area. And I would talk to some of these students, and they would disrespect you if they found out you went to a PWI. A PWI is a predominantly white institution. So any school that's not a historically black college or university. Now, once again, I'm from the West Coast. I had never even heard that term before I moved to the DC area. On my side of the country, everyone goes to a PWI. And if we're going to break it down the numbers, only 10% of black students go to HBCUs. 10% of all black students. So I didn't understand. And it was just low levels of shade. They try to use it as kind of a one-up on you if they're losing an argument or just a little jab every once in a while. I don't think going to an HBCU is essential to the black experience. Some people do, but I don't. And I'm not saying they're not needed now. I understand the historical relevance of HBCUs, but I think the PWIs are perfectly fine and are a perfectly justified place to get a quality education. So, let's get into this article with Jemele Hill. Jemele Hill is a blatant misandrist. She talks trash about men in general, especially black men. And you're going to see it all over this article. Let's get into it. Deion Sanders' disappointing exit. The former NFL star got a great new coaching job, but what happens to schools like Jackson State? By conventional measures, Deion Sanders' decision to leave Jackson State to become the head football coach at the University of Colorado is a no-brainer. Colorado has reportedly signed the former NFL star to a 5-year, $29.5 million deal, the most lucrative contract given to any football coach in that school's history, and a huge bump up from Sanders' current 4-year, $1.4 million contract. That's a big jump in pay. I'd be taking that too. And in some ways, his impending departure from Jackson State, a historically black institution in Mississippi for a school competing at the highest level in college football, is a sign of progress. Black coaches, especially those who have been head coaches at historically black institutions, rarely get a real shot for top positions in major conferences. Now, you got to watch out for writers like Jemele Hill. They'll say a little bit of the good stuff before they take the knife and stab it in your ribs. Here it comes. Yet Sanders, after just 3 seasons at Jackson State, is leaving behind a trail of disappointment and criticism because his exits highlight all the reasons that historically black colleges and universities failed to thrive. She goes into this paragraph about how essential HBCUs have been for upward mobility. 40% of engineers have come from HBCUs, 50% of lawyers, and 80% of judges. Kamala Harris, blah, yeah, sure. This statement right here gets me. In the end, the profound legacy of HBCUs just wasn't enough. What does that even mean? So Coach Prime is supposed to pretty much play for free, in my opinion, because he's playing at an HBCU. Ain't happening. $29.5 million or $1.4 million. Which one would you take, Jemele? Yeah, I thought so. And also the perks. In addition to his own salary, Colorado promised Sanders a $5 million war chest to hire his coaching staff, another perk that wasn't possible at Jackson State. In fact, Sanders' new contract at Colorado is more than 10 times larger than Jackson State's entire $2.1 million football budget in 2021. These are justified rewards for Sanders, who has emerged as one of college football's most charismatic and compelling stars. She goes into what I stated earlier, how they had a 27-5 record, won back-to-back championships, brought the school national exposure, and made the school a destination for top high school recruits in the country. I'm glad she said this because this is true. Sanders never misled anyone about his interest on moving on to a bigger and better resource program. And she's trying to say that he tugged on all the right emotional strings to get everyone on his side to believe that he was going to be the savior for HBCU sports and football. And he was going to change lives. And he was going to be the change catalyst. During Sanders' tenure, the athletic department generated an estimated $185 million in advertising revenue and exposure for Jackson State, and they are paying him $1.4 million. National media swarmed to cover the newest sensation in college football, which made its first ever visit to Jackson for their game against Southern University in October. Here comes the bad news again. For Jackson State fans who feel abandoned, it doesn't help that Sanders opted for a Colorado program that finished 1-11 last season and hasn't won more than 5 games in a season since 2016. Naturally, coaching jobs open up most frequently in programs that aren't in good shape. But by jumping at an offer from a major conference school that is in the bottom rung of the Pac-12 conference, rather than continuing to engineer success at Jackson State, Sanders reinforced the narrative that mainstream validation is more important than fostering black excellence at a black institution. Look, you don't work for free, and Coach Prime is an athlete who wants to win and likes a challenge. Okay, I still don't understand her reason. It's Kevin Samuels said shame, insults, the guilt, and the need to be right is the modern pathology for women. It's all in this article. She should just write, "I don't like Deion Sanders." And pretty much call him the good old sellout word, because this is what it's sounding like on her part. The question of what successful black individuals owe the broader black community is a complex one. Gary Chambers Jr., a civil rights activist who unsuccessfully sought a U.S. Senate seat in Louisiana this year, tweeted this about the Sanders situation. At some point, we as black people have to admit that black flight impacts black institutions and communities just as much as white flight and then gentrification. All these buzzwords. Truth is, being black is so complex in America that having these conversations in public is a challenge in and of itself. The rest of this article, once again, it just gets into more talking about HBCUs and how they don't have any funds. There was one HBCU coach, Eddie Robinson, who coached at Grambling for 56 years, who was never offered an opportunity. Well, she tried to say that he never took an opportunity, but I don't think he was offered an opportunity at 56 years. And then she goes on to say that he let the students down, that he was out for himself. Once again, shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. I'm just going to say it. Coach Prime didn't owe Jackson State anything. He doesn't owe HBCUs anything. He needs to make sure that he's getting what he wants to get out of his work. Jackson State couldn't give him that anymore. They should have found a way to pay him more than $1.4 million, giving him a cut of that $185 million in revenue he generated. And then let's not forget about all the rumors about malfeasance on the part of the administration. And you can listen to interviews that Coach Prime gave to different media outlets about the state of the field. There was no practice field. Some of the players didn't even get meal cards. Just a lot of the things, a lot of the problems that we hear go on at HBCUs were just rampant at JSU. And then one last little thing I was watching an interview I heard him say is, because of the success of the football program, they wanted JSU to go up to a different conference. But if they go up to a different conference, all of the athletic programs have to go up a conference, not just the football team. And Coach Prime said that the football team may have been ready, but what about the basketball team and the baseball team and the women's sports? So I recommend, once again, my opinion, Coach Prime is doing the right thing. Women like Jemele Hill are just doing the classic shaming taxes. Once again, Jemele Hill is a blatant misandrist, writing for the Atlantic, and her opinion is just based upon disliking the guy and his opportunities. I recommend you do your own research. You tell me what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.